All right, welcome to this week's Dig Deeper episode here. I'm with Shawn Morman. He is a hunting land specialist. He's in the timber business, but you can't exactly pigeonhole him being in the timber business is actually just going in and cutting timber, because Shawn really understands the wildlife cuts, and he's a hunter, and that's his passion, and he really loves making this property and any property he cuts into prime hunting land. That's what he does.
That's right, that's right. Good to see you, Roger.
Good to see you.
Yeah, so this is one of the areas that we looked in first, and this area just kind of grown up and got really thick, and there was no sunlight in here. You can kind of see now we're getting some sunlight in here on the ground, so where, you know, this was a closed up canopy before. I think by spring this will be greened up and you'll have a lot of beneficial vegetation in here, you know, to support what you're trying to do in this area, for sure.
Right, and you know, in an area like this here, which I've been thinking, we're closer to our road. So, I mean, and I've got enough sunlight in here now, I can come in here and I may plant some native grasses right out here in this section to really have a screen from the road, you know.
And it's open enough now that you can get a burn in here without scorching it, because I think there was a lot of fuel in here before. So, and then it'll give you a little bit more cover in here along the road, so you won't have to worry about it. Plus, we left a buffer out on the highway.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is an essential part of growing deer, is native browse.
That's right. Well, that's why all of those feeds are called supplements. That's what they're there to supplement what a deer doesn't naturally get in its own, you know, habitat. So it's kind of funny too, you know, there's times during the year where people have out feed and all of a sudden it's like you flip a switch.
Yeah.
They're not eating it anymore, they're not using it. But then if you go and look and see what's going on out here, you start to see a lot of these, you know, the native browse coming on, and they'll leave that in a minute. It's just like when acorns fall, they leave that to go to acorns. That's why a pine stand's not really beneficial to a white-tailed deer, other than what it houses underneath it. And if you're not getting sunlight in here on the floor, you don't get to see any of that. You know, a lot of people, you know, they see timber equipment show up on a place and scared to death, but if it's done the right way and you get it, you know, what you're trying to accomplish like this is, the goal is that you have sunlight on the ground, because if you don't, you're not going to grow anything in here.
Okay, when y'all came in here, how did you go about determining which trees to take out and what to leave, and what to not, you know, take out?
What we do is just go through here, take out everything that didn't grow as good as the original trees that were here. But the goal is just to get enough space around the crowns of the trees to open the canopy, so that basically any time during the day you've got sunlight that will penetrate down through here and get on the ground.
Let's walk up here. We right over the hill right here. We got a clear cut area, and we'll talk about what we're going to do with it.
Sounds good.
Well, obviously this is the clear cut, and you know, down here in the southeast there is so many people lease timber company land, and man, I hear it all the time. I got all my buddies that, you know, hunt, and man, it's like the dreaded disease, you know, oh God, they're fixing a clear cut. But I mean, it looks bad now, but now they're going to come back, you know, on them timber leases like we're going to do on some of this. We're going to make some fields because we got that opportunity. But whenever they come back and plant the pines, they fixing to get so much different undergrowth and forage for them deer coming in. It's unbelievable.
Clear cuts have got a bad rap around here. We're just a little too far north. You know, south of here, everything that gets clear cut is just natural practice. It gets planted back because it's old farmland. You get up this way, there's a lot more land that's clear cut that is not replanted, and people, it grows into a jungle, and you know, people hate them. And I think most people just look at a clear cut and see it's ugly too. But from a wildlife standpoint, sometimes a clear cut can be the most beneficial thing you got. You know. Deer's needs change every month of the year. Cover is important all of those 12 months. In a place like this, you know yourself, there probably, as 400 acres on this side of the creek, there might not have been 10 acres of this that really was even suitable bedding cover. I mean, there's probably places that a deer would have laid down if it had to, but that didn't hold deer, you know, year round. But food plots are important, supplemental feed's important, but cover is a 12-month out of the year thing. And what y'all wanted to do in here was we took some areas that were adjacent to food plots, because bed and cover close to a food plot is two really important things, because then later in the year when deer have been pressured, they don't want to go far from food, and their mind is on survival. So if you can keep these food plots tight to some cover like these clear cuts, it really gets good, because the deer don't leave. You don't have a place where they stay on the neighbor and then come here. The goal is to keep them in the core and the heart of the property all the time, so they don't come and go.
That's right, yeah. All right, we're gonna go over here and look at where we thin some instead of doing the clear cut, and we'll give y'all an idea of what that's looking like over there.
Sounds good.
All right, we moved over here into this section here where we're actually just did some thinning and cut some lanes in here. This was really thick whenever y'all started. I mean, as in hard to walk through.
Hard to walk.
About, but I know y'all did a bunch of work in here. It took some time to do it because of it being so thick and the tree so small, but y'all really did a good job in here to make it come out like it did.
Well, you look in here now and you wonder why on earth the deer would even be in here,
Yeah.
But it's like we're talking about over on the first area we looked at, you can see sunlight on the ground in here now. In all these areas where you have sunlight, you'll have some growth, and it'll actually, be beneficial for the deer to use, some of these areas.
Yeah, we're talking about this area here, and you obviously we got that southern pine beetle in this area, and is there anything people can do, we can do? Is there anything to actually do to prevent that? I mean, I know they get under stress and that causes pine beetles to get into different areas.
Most of the larger landowners have land managers that keep an eye on things and that type of thing, but I'd say probably for the smaller landowner that doesn't have the somebody that's doing that kind of thing for them, if they're out and they notice anything that looks abnormal, I think every county, like here in Georgia where we're at, you got a Georgia Forestry Commission office here. They're there to answer any questions they have. If they got an area they're concerned about or worried about, they can go on their website, or they could call them and say, hey, I've got a question, and they're always pretty quick to come and advise them on what they need to do. Normally, if they spend enough time on a place, they can tell if something's changed or if something's different, and that would be my suggestion, would be to utilize somebody like that. Most of the time, whoever you see addressing beetle problems usually would suggest that you take care of the place as a whole and do some thinning and try to get the whole place in shape, because normally it's stress that creates the issue to begin with.
I got you. Well, man, I tell you what, I appreciate all the work y'all been doing up here. It's going to help us out greatly, because I mean, from wildlife standpoint, this is needed. It's a kind of a problem we inherited, but
as a whole, I'm interested to see how it turns out too, and hope it create some big deer on the place.
Oh yeah, that's what we're looking for. That turkey and deer, I mean, they're both going to benefit. And like you're saying, as you can look down through here, I mean, you see sunlight out here now on the ground, and that's something that hadn't been reaching the ground in here. So there goes all the browse. So.
Yeah, that's right.